Yo, 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 good everyone, it's D. Bailey here again. Another upload coming at you. A little housekeeping before we get started. I hope everyone is having a great day. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Leave some comments. Let me know where you're from, where you're engaging from. U.S., across the world, wherever you may be. Let us know where you're checking in from. Of course, hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, and please, please, please share this video. We need to get an ultimate reach. We need to get the ultimate reach here. We need to touch quite a few young men. Actually, anyone who's going to fully absorb this content and try to make some changes and get better themselves. I wanted to discuss with you guys, and today's target again are young men. All right, I want to urge any of you, if you know any young men, or if you're living this, or this is your past, I'm gonna challenge you. Let me back up a little bit. If you were raised by a single mother, you had a father who was in and out, you had a father who was completely absent, or you had a father on occasion, or you did the whole weekend thing. Me personally, I was a weekend father. I was a weekend son. My parents divorced when I was about 2 years old, and I recall going back and forth to my dad's house about every other weekend. All right. In regards to schooling and every day, my father was not there. Okay, he was not there. What factors led to that, I don't know. I do know that I came into the world with some with lots of chaos, lots of domestic chaos. Some of it I've done some research on, and some of it I still have this impression that was or this story or narrative that was fed to me by my mother and those in my household, and even those around me. Everywhere I would go within the family, I had this spirit or this feeling of negativity, this feeling of negativity, and negative perception of my father and his side of the family. Okay, and I mean from 4 or 5 years old all the way up until, man, I want to say about 2 years ago. And it was a narrative. And as a kid, it was kind of like a cloud, a constant cloud over over myself and how I viewed myself. Okay, and it was a constant narrative. So what I did was I tried to shed some of it. I know personally I love my father and his side of the family, but I know I was constantly attempting to shed that part of my identity as a kid. And it was fed to me. All right. Let's fast forward to about 2 years ago. I got a call from my father. Usual check-in. We've had a strained relationship. We've had a strained relationship over the years, as becoming a young man, boyhood, teen. I always had this figure, which was, of course, it's a dad. All right. I've always had this voice coming from my father, boy, do this, boy, don't do this. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And that alone right there triggered the story, the narrative that was fed to me as a child by my mother and other family members. All right, this was the story that was fed to me. Okay, and because of everything that my father came with me, he was very. My father was a hustler. He was a hard worker. Like he's the he's the committed man, the man that um, he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. He serves in the church. He like his free time, I would say, makes up a small portion of his time of his daily time allotment. He's constantly volunteering. I remember as a little boy, dad would you probably a lot of you guys can probably relate to this. In the 80s, we would me and my dad would be driving on the street in the 2 days that we had together. Okay, Friday pickup, um, usually on the way from my house, from one part of from my house somewhere in Decatur somewhere, all the way to my dad's house, another side of Decatur. We would pick up a woman walking, pick up a man walking, homeless, bags, and I'm stuck in the middle. And I recall being jealous. I recall being jealous of my time with my dad. And it was always that jealousy there. Anytime someone would come in and, absorb some of the time with me and my dad, it would be an issue with me. Okay, I didn't express it because I was 5, 6 years old, but that was a feeling. But man, I lost track of where I was going. Um, but yeah, every time my dad would, say something to me, typical father stuff, I would have that. Yeah, I knew it, or that's what to a degree. To a degree, um, this was my perception. This was my experience with my dad. Um, hey man, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? It used to drive me crazy. It used to drive me crazy. Um, all the way up until let's come back to about 2 years ago. I got a phone call from my dad. Um, a casual conversation, and it wasn't a pity call. It wasn't a, hey man, this is da da da. It was we were discussing some stuff, some work, um, home life, and he says something to the effect. I don't even remember the way the words he used, but it was like, hey man, um, went to the doctor the other day, and he says I have stage 3 prostate cancer. And man, when I got that call, my heart dropped. And it was like things were about to change. It was, no matter what, you love your father. The person, who, you know, whose legacy you are, who's loved you in their own way, who's done nothing, was about to, was about to go through that transition, expecting, living a life of expecting, or even losing, that person. Um, I I put the phone down. I put the phone down. And I remember getting angry at my dad. I remember getting angry with him. And he understood. It's funny because, men, I guess we understand how we deal with stuff. But he stopped talking. And he waited a few moments. He waited a few moments to respond because he knew I was dealing with it, or it hit me hard. But I asked a few questions, and he told me about the treatment. And after that conversation ended, I remember beelining it or making some immediate plans to go see him in the next few days. So I remember spending, from that phone call, I remember spending a good 3 to 4 weeks, I believe, helping him, cut trees because he never shut down. He never shut down. After getting that diagnosis, he did his treatment. And I remember he was taking treatment. He was taking treatment during the time where we started, I started helping him out. And I remember this man would go to treatment one day early morning, and then we would meet up around 8 or 9 o'clock. And this fool would climb a tree. I think I got some videos on YouTube and whatnots, during that time, about a few years ago. But yeah, he would get on, climb up the tree, and I would be on the tree. We would push in, I mean, like huge logs, 36, 38, 48, 50 inches diameter. But I remember he would come down off the tree, and it was, I would notice him being tired. And it was because of the chemotherapy. It was because of the chemotherapy. And it would hit me. And I would have to go walk away. Because imagine seeing the person that you look up to, or the person who presents himself, or the person who is the end game almost, or the standard for who you are as a man. And they're showing weakness, or they're showing that they're, showing their mortality. And I'm sorry, please forgive me. I remember crying every day on my way home. I remember crying every day on my way home from Covington, Georgia, back to where I live in Metro Atlanta. But during that time, it was a journey for me. It was a necessary part because I've grown so freaking much since that time. But yeah, I was going to the whole, the conversations, the things that I learned about my life and the other side of the story, which is what I want to highlight to you young men. The other side of the story is what you have to know. Men, guys, we're about truth. We're the black and whites. I'm not saying that life doesn't have gray areas, but we're committed to our black and whites. All right. We're committed to our black and whites. That's why it's important. As a man, you have to, a community pillar, you have to determine, or you have to get all the information. Okay. You can't be one-sided, and it's only fair to the other person who, you have two. You have a mother and a father. Now society has imbalanced that, that idea. Extremely, extremely imbalanced. We're men. So naturally, our fathers are the one who should be guiding us on our journey, preparing for manhood. Okay. African culture, up until 4 or 5 years old, I believe, the mother takes care of the son. And then from that point forward, the village fathers, the elders take over the, rearing the boys, presenting them to the, training them to present them to the world as men. I don't know what the other cultures do. We don't do it. Which is why we've had a history of weak men in our communities. All right, some of them weak, and some of them have been a victim of the cars being weighted, in favor of mothers over the last, 50 years, 30, 40, 50 years. Um, and it's time that we make a change. All right. It's time that I'm going to say as a whole, I've always been there for my boys. Um, I became a father 26 years ago. All right. 26 years ago and some months. And I've always put myself in a position to be a great man or be a great father. I'm sorry, to be a great father. Um, but yeah, guys, again, you have to know the other side of the story. Okay. I'm going to throw something at you. We see our mothers as uh, this elderly, noble matriarch. Okay. And for a lot of us, we use the idea that they fed me, they took care of me, they protected me. We use this as the standard or the justification for imbalancing. I'm not saying respecting and honoring your mother. I'm saying this is how we justify the imbalance. This is how we put our fathers by default. We put our fathers. It's like a zero-sum game. We think because mother's doing this, that father is not doing this. Okay, but we have to look at the entire picture. We have to, if you're in your 20s and 30s, 40s even, you've had a history of bad relationships with women. You've witnessed some of the things, some of the games, some of the aggression, some of the, some of the evil stuff that we know that some women can do. All right, some women. We have to extrapolate our mothers into that idea, or at least opening the possibility. Okay, because your mother is your mother to you only. Your mother is your mother to you only. Okay, she's a human. She's a woman. She has desires. She has jealousies, insecurities. She has issues. And I'm saying this to say that you need to find your father and discover his story, his side of events. Because what that does, it's only for you. You're doing this for you. Okay, you're doing this to become a complete whole person. All right? You're getting two sides of the story because you need to know what not to do. You need to know how to be at the position to reevaluate some of the things that you believed. Okay? Just that simple. If you got anger with your dad, put it aside, because I can tell you this. Once you begin your journey to manhood, you'll discover, or you'll learn, that your feelings are not what creates your blueprint on how you move in life. Your feelings are not. Because guess what? Your feelings change from moment to moment. And if you live that way, you'll never establish roots. All right? You will never grow, and you'll never be consistent. Trust me, from experience. Although I would consider myself successful right now, I made it a long journey. I made it a longer journey because, like a lot of us, father has this lowly position in our society. So what we do is we, you know, we, our society don't value masculinity and our fatherhood in this community, in this time. So, you know, we naturally, we put things onto the mother. Mother becomes God to a fault. We pick up those attributes. We pick up those attributes. We pick up feminine attributes. Not saying that, you know, not in that femininity, masculinity. All right. Feminine, you know, femininity in a man can be good sometimes. We're balanced, you know. It should be it's a time for feminine things. Okay. But for the most part, we should be in our masculinity. We should be leaning on those things that are stable. You know, you can't live a life of, you know, in the whim. Society's going to always sell you something. Society's going to always have something there for you to cling on to. All right, this is why it's important. This is why our men are important. Yeah. I'm putting too much out there. Let's save some for later. Man, it's gonna get good. Thank you so much for listening. Share this video, please, guys. Share this video. Please subscribe if you're new to this channel. Thanks for watching D Bailey Speaks, guys. It's been a pleasure. See you on the next video.